Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to one of RVN's new shows, What the Why, with host Barbara Ann. If you're joining us for the first time, our show features conversations with diverse leaders from all walks of life about why they do what they do and how they figured out that what they're doing is what they're meant to do. Maybe you're looking for something different in your life or career. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Do you feel stuck and want to learn how to get unstuck? All of our guests have something in common with you. They felt that way at some point in their lives as well. So whether you sought us out or found us by accident, this show is for you, and thank you very much for joining us. Our guest today is a longtime friend, over 3 decades. We knew each other when we were really, really little. Ian Hanley, MSW, LCSW. Ian is a licensed clinical social worker who operates his own practice in Maple Shade, New Jersey. In private practice since April of 1996, Ian is a general practitioner who provides a range of therapeutic services, though he works a lot with people who are neurodiverse or neurotypical, which includes clients with mood disorders, anxiety disorders, ADHD, etc. Ian holds a Master's of Social Work from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and a BA in Psychology with a minor in Speech and Hearing Sciences from the State University of New York, also known as SUNY, at New Paltz. He's completed hundreds of hours, probably hundreds upon hundreds of hours, of continuing education and professional development. And on top of all of that, he is an accomplished storyteller, hence the storyteller extraordinaire. He creates a great deal of his own content, as well as tells stories from myths and folklore. He's performed and even won numerous awards at the Philadelphia Academy of the Arts, the Philly Folk Festival. He's performed at regional schools in the area, sci-fi and folk conventions, coffee houses, and others. And the Society for Creative, let me make sure, the Society for Creative Anachronism awarded him the Order of the Boreas Award for Excellence in Storytelling. So, without further ado, please welcome my dear friend, Ian Hanley. Yay!
Hi there. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, so welcome to What the Why.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
And I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to do the show. So I'm going to jump right in with the questions.
Sounds good.
One of our signature questions here at What the Why is, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I didn't know. When I was younger and in high school, thought about a lot of different things. And my parents took me for an aptitude test. And the aptitude test tended to point me towards what was thought about me a lot anyway. I was always a helpful person and suggested going into the helping fields. So thought about different ones, did some research on different ones, looked at speech and hearing and audiology. And they have a very good program for that up in SUNY New Paltz, so I went there. And I liked the audiology a lot, but I hated the speech part, partly because of the way they did it. And so they didn't let you just do the audiology. You had to do, it was much more speech and hearing, speech and hearing oriented. And so I had pretty much at that time had a second major in psych, and I'd always been interested in that. So I just flipped them.
Oh.
I drove up in the summer, and I changed my major.
Okay.
I got the dean's secretary to sign off on it. Always be nice to secretaries, I've found. That was
always
good advice I gave people going through school. Be nice to everybody. And just went from there. And then from there, I knew I wanted to continue. I knew that you needed a higher degree to continue. I had at that time been, I had helped run both the hotline and walk-in center at the college, as well as teaching a bunch of the students crisis intervention via the hotline. And I was a senior member at the one in the community, and so I knew I wanted to continue, but you have to get a master's or a PhD or whatever, and I looked into various things, and the Master's of Social Work was the best option for me.
Okay. So you graduate, you get your Master's of Social Work. Why don't you explain to us how you decided to go into practice for yourself?
Well, I had worked at a couple of different places, and my last job before I went into practice for myself was at the hospital in Cherry Hill, which was then Kennedy Memorial, and they had the CAPU unit, I think they called it, and I was hired to be the outpatient person for children and adolescents, except when I kind of wanted to work with adults at that point because I don't like being typecasted, but I was fine with that. But as it turned out, I was the outpatient department for like the first almost year that I was there because they hired no one else, and so I saw all ages. There were various things that went on there, including I figured that they didn't promote social workers, and I kind of liked doing the therapy a lot, and I realized to move up in my field, you kind of had to move into administration, which is not my forte nor my love, and I just decided to take the risk. It was I went from a full-time job where they paid me, they were going to keep me, and my new supervisor really liked me, to okay. So I had a bunch of part-time gigs as well as the one I was putting together on my own. So I did those, and eventually it just morphed into where I am now, which is.
Now, there are so many people out there watching this show right now who have thought about going out on their own, but for whatever reason, fear gets in the way. How did you overcome the fear to make that leap to owning your own practice, which I should have pointed out, this is his anniversary, April. So
yeah,
happy
April
anniversary.
Well, I knew I wanted it. And one of the fears, of course, is monetary. But for my practice, I needed basically a space to do it, furniture, stuff like that. I wasn't hiring anyone. I'm an office of one. And I did have, my parents were willing to, if I needed them to be there for me, which was a help. They did pay for my furniture, which was nice. But I didn't end up needing any of the help. Because I had lined up before going in, and this is very important to do your work before you go in, I had lined up an agreement with what was then called the counseling program, and they paid you they paid you a small amount. At that point it was $30 per session, but they gave you a lot of people. And I was young, so I worked till like 9, 10 at night, seeing people. Which a lot of people like because they want to see you after work. I work Saturdays, so you have to be willing to put in all that extra effort. I don't work as late now, nor do I work Saturdays, generally, because I just don't want to. So having those things, in particular, I'd say I spent, to be honest, I spent the year that I was working at Kennedy, I'd been thinking about it from the beginning. And I put a lot of thought into a business plan and how I would be hooked up with various people. I continued to do some part-time work I was already doing for family service, seeing clients through them, being paid a certain amount, less even than the counseling program, but it kept me, money flowing in.
So you had transitionary steps. You didn't just jump off of the bridge.
Yeah, and I had, having those contractual agreements actually helped me eventually get my own contractual agreements, because all those programs have kind of fallen by the wayside. The counseling program hasn't existed in over a decade and a half, most likely, if not longer. And I was able to get contracts, my own provider agreements with all the insurance companies. At this point, I accept pretty much every insurance.
Yeah, because you take most insurances. Yeah, which is awesome.
It is.
Because mental health has become an increasingly important also recognized issue.
Well, I think it's getting more recognized. It goes up and down. We are the stepchildren of the insurance. They tend to be more problematic with people seeking our services than, say, if you broke your leg. Mostly because a broken leg they consider a finite service, where with us they're always concerned that people will have to be in therapy forever, which some people do. Though, as I like to point out to insurance companies when I talk to them, I keep them out of the hospital, which is $1,000 a day.
Mm-hmm.
You pay me like $60 to $80 a week, maybe.
Yeah.
Look at the savings.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. What three things would you say contributed most to your success? Because you do have a very successful practice.
Well, there was a certain amount of luck. Stick-to-itiveness to get, I had to fill out all that stuff and get all that stuff in to get hooked up with the insurance companies, being willing to apply to them all. I'm very good, not perfect, but very good at getting back to people that call me. If you call my office, the phone still remains the best way to get in touch with me. If you call my office, I generally get back to you within 24 to 48 hours when you're calling for a new appointment. And I found that sometimes people tell me they never hear back, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But so I think that that's a big thing. And the third is, I've just been willing to show up, I guess, and do it. I like what I do. There are aspects of, the only aspect of my job I really don't like is paperwork. I think you know that. And actually I find that most people who do therapy don't like paperwork. We're possibly notoriously bad at it, which would, is, but with clients and dealing with clients, dealing with kids, kids in particular. I think clients of all ages can tell that I'm engaged and hopefully that I care about what's going on with them. I tend to have a very good rapport with people. Children tend to realize that, there's part of, I get them, and, even though I am significantly older.
Okay. Well, believe it or not, it's time for a break.
Cool.
So we will be right back with more with Ian Hanley on What the Why. Welcome back to What the Why. Today's guest is Ian Hanley, licensed clinical social worker and owner of his own therapy practice, a thriving practice.
Thank you.
But let's pivot a little bit. Now, my next question may or may not lead to the pivot, but the question I'm going to ask you is if you could do anything in the world, anything at all, and not have to worry about money or benefits or fear of failure, what would that be?
I'd like to see a lot of places in the world I haven't seen.
Okay.
I'd like to travel. Some of those places are probably, well, certainly not traveling to China right now, mostly because China has shut itself down. But I'd like to see a bunch of things. Speaking of the pivot, certainly there are places where I like to tell stories, and I would go to some of those conventions that are throughout the world. Just have a good time. Yeah. Though, I bought a lottery ticket recently. I don't think I won.
So how did you figure out that storytelling was one of the things that you really love to do?
Well, I've always kind of been involved in making up some stories or whatever. Even when I was young, I wrote some or tried to write some. Tried to write some songs, even perform them, but I'm not a great singer. I'm okay, but not great. And I just kind of got into it I joined the Society for Creative Anachronism, and I started, I heard some people perform, and then I started doing it, started performing stories. And I have that ability where people could give me 5 things and I could make up a whole story. I have some unreasonable friends at different points in my life, so they gave me some 5 interesting things. One was Gonzo under the moonlight with a rubber chicken. I don't remember that story, but they laughed a lot, so it was definitely funny. I like to start out whenever I decide to do that, I say reasonable things, and then I define reasonable as being based on the group of people that you're with, and then I say oops.
Okay.
I got more and more into it. I started just enjoying it. I joined some storytelling guild for a while, Patchwork Storytelling Guild. Considered joining them again, just for the fun of it. And through them, I met some people that needed people to go perform, and so I ended up volunteering to perform at various places, and even got paid at some. And then I had a friend who knew some people at the school who was superintendent, so I ended up getting some gigs there. I was kind of pursuing it as a side business for a while, but I was also developing my practice at the same time. And it's a true statement. You kind of have to pick one, and I picked the practice, which I don't regret. I think that was best. I still do the storytelling for a lot of fun. I've entered a bunch of little contests at conventions I've gone to, and I've won a lot of them.
Well, you won your very first time you entered.
Yes, that was at actually an SCA event in North Carolina, and it was actually a shock. I entered, I performed, I did the contest. And then I went out and I did some martial arts, and then I went and got cleaned up before dinner. And I came back and people told me I had won, and I went, oh yeah, right. Because, but I did. I performed actually a story that I do a bunch. I performed the story Jabas, which is loosely based on an Awanas tale, which is a tale of, it's a trickster tale. Similar to the Jack tales in more European traditions.
Okay.
One people may know, or at least be able to look up, would be the 3 questions.
Okay.
That's a one that goes through all the different. And it's interesting. You can see it travel from where it first originated. Who knows? But it's traveled throughout Europe, the Middle East, and everywhere, or vice versa. So it's a quite famous stories.
So 3 questions is a story itself, or it's a format for story?
It's a story itself.
Okay.
Now, whether that's the title of the story in all the literature, I'm not sure, to be honest. But it basically involves, the short of it is, the one I tell is King John is mad at the abbot of Canterbury, tells him, you must answer my questions 3 upon the morrow, or your head shall be forfeit and you shall be dead.
Okay.
He does not go, the farmer goes and tricks, and it's quite interesting, or fun.
So 5 words. If I gave you 5 words, could you make up a brief story?
Probably. Very brief one.
So what are the reasonable 5 words? So, well, Barbara Ann.
Okay.
So,
Barbara Ann. No, this could end bad.
karate.
Karate.
Do I need like a place?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. On the show set. Baby Yoda, because
Gotta have a baby
gotta
Yoda.
have a Baby Yoda. Everybody needs a Grogu Baby Yoda. And happiness. So.
Barbara Ann, who, as you know, is one of the happiest people we've ever met. Always smiling, charming, was having a great day. She was very happy. She had her Baby Yoda with her. It was one of those ones that talks when you press the belly. And it said all, of course, the Baby Yoda things, which I don't personally know myself, but I'm sure that Barbara Ann knows because she is a great fan. And she put it on her desk at the set and was having a good time when someone comes along and snatches it. And she says, what are you doing? You're interfering with my happiness. That is mine. Give it back. And the person goes, no, I kind of like it. I'm going to take it. And Barbara Ann goes, I think you underestimate me. And the person goes, no, I can take this. I'm going to take it. I'm going to go. I'm going to leave. It's all mine now. And Barbara Ann goes, you know, I'm a black belt. And they laugh at her and go, well, little thing like you, you're not a black belt. You're just a funny-looking girl. At which point she puts him on his ass and takes back her Baby Yoda and puts it on the desk and goes, would you like another demonstration? At which point he crawls off going, no, that'll be fine. Thank you very much. Last dare I ever take with the crew.
So for clarification, we'll say we put him on his donkey so they don't have to bleep it.
You put him on his donkey.
Because there's a donkey in the studio.
That is.
That's too funny. I've never actually done the 5 words with you, so pretty good on the spot with the Baby Yoda. So If you were the one doing this interview, what question would you ask that I haven't already?
You know, that is a hard question. It's actually interesting. That's a question when I do intakes, I say, what haven't I asked you that I need to know? Now I know how hard a question that is. I don't know. The answer to the question without asking it, of the things that I love, I have a great deal of, well, I have hobbies, as you know. One of them is building castles and other things, which is why I like visiting castles. My dream going forward would be to, I used to want various things. My feeling is I'm going to continue doing my practice forever until I'm in my 70s. I'll do a lot less. So that would be one part of it. But I do want to increase the storytelling thing, and maybe even, my friend is after me at times to dictate enough of stuff so that she can write it, whether she truly wants to do that or not. That's my friend Beth. You've met her. Sometimes Beth says things.
Hi, Beth.
Yeah, I'll have to tell her about this. She's been mentioned now. So I guess the question would be, where do I go from here? I'm not entirely sure. I know kind of what I want to do with the business. I'm not pushing to get, like, be full with 8 or 9 clients every day anymore like I did when I was first in the business. Because, you know, I'm doing okay.
You're doing, yeah, you don't need to.
So, you know, using that time productively, enjoying telling stories, being with people. The pandemic kind of put a lot of socialness on hold. My travels, you know, I would have traveled more places, done more things. Now I'd like to do that, but every time I think about doing that...
Another resurgence.
Yeah, like I said, China is definitely out. I have friends that are going to Egypt, so I'm going to ask them how that went and probably book that at some point. And I'm definitely doing some things with various friends. And just myself and others, just to have a good time. And
possibly a trip to Ireland.
Yeah, definitely. We had talked about that, that's right. Get to meet my relatives.
Which would be really nice.
Yeah, they're nice people. I saw them, actually just before the pandemic I went. And I went to a music festival there in Ennis, where I actually told stories. Because they have this group that gets together and they entertain each other, and they're very friendly, so you get your name on the list, and you can sing a song, or in my case, I told stories. And that was the second time I've done that at that music festival.
Okay. And it was received well?
It was received very well. They're very, like I said, very friendly, very open, welcoming.
I've always wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I know it's beautiful. And I also have relatives in Ireland, so...
track them down.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I guess, excuse me. So, if someone out there watching this show is interested in going into psychology or storytelling or a bit of both, what one piece of advice that you would offer to them?
Well, I would definitely, I think it helped me that I did the volunteer stuff I did.
Okay.
And I also worked in the field prior to getting my bachelor's and after getting my bachelor's as a direct care worker and such. And I think both of those things are not a bad place to start, because it gives you an idea of whether you're ready for it. Because you get exposed to a lot of different problems.
You can test drive it.
And if you're okay with that, then you might be okay with pursuing it. And you know, going into therapy is just one aspect of it. I mean, there are social workers in politics and advocacy and all. It's a very versatile degree, which is one of the reasons I went into it. There's also research, which was not something I was into. But it's somewhat finding the part of it that you like. And then, you know, it's finding a school that would support that. When I went to school, I was very straightforward with my advisor. I took both the adult and child track for mental health, which have a lot of similarities but differences. And my reasoning, of course, was I'm going to work with both. You know, if you just work with a child, they come with parents. I explained that to a colleague once.
So, believe it or not, we are out of time.
I believe it.
I know, it's crazy. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here. on What the Why and share your story and do the impromptu story because, yes, in 3 decades we've never done that. Ian is our...
And you've been at
I've been
my
at many of, yes.
Yeah, my Bardic Circles where Joe couldn't find the button.
Right, it just didn't work out. So now I'm part of the experience. So, and Ian is just the latest example of the diverse guests that we have lined up that have already been on the show and coming soon. Next week, we'll be joined by Luis de la Hoz, who is the first Vice President and Regional Director of Community Lending at Valley Bank, and most widely known throughout the region as the Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for the state of New Jersey. The following week, we'll be joined by Dee Bolton, also known as the Faith-Fueled Mom. Dee is a personal trainer at Elevate Athletics and a fitness influencer, blogger, content creator, brand ambassador, and then of course she owns her own brand. You don't want to miss what either of these guests have to say. As a reminder, What the Why airs on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. and on Mondays at 3:30 p.m. It's also available on demand through RVN Television and Roku. You just saw Ian's information pop up. Feel free to reach out to him. He prefers to be contacted by phone, and you have my company information as well. Whether you're looking to make changes in your life or career, big or small, please join us again for more inspirational, informative, amusing conversations with people who wanted to make changes and overcame fears and obstacles in their lives to find their purpose and live it.